Hello and welcome to today's episode of Focus Atlanta. I am your host, Keisha Lanslin. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this weekend. In this week's episode, we'll learn about this year's Taste of Generosity with the MS Society. We'll discuss summer spending trends. We'll chat about learning to live with a diabetes diagnosis. And we'll begin talking about when loss of money becomes a mental health crisis. I'm here with Dr. Jeffrey Rubin.
Thank you so much for having me.
I gotta say, I've never even thought about the correlation. Can we begin talking about that connection?
Yes, in our culture, most people link finances with identity. So, in other words, we define ourselves by our money situation. If our money situation is going well, if we feel a stability about that, we feel that we're okay, we're a good person, we're successful. If it's difficult, which it is for increasing numbers of folks today, it deeply affects our self-esteem and our sense of stability and safety.
And you've mentioned before in previous interviews about the isolation of that. I hadn't made that connection about how you could feel so alone in that circumstance. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I think happens, Keisha, is shame. We have the fantasy that we're the only one going through it. We're reluctant to talk about it because it's embarrassing. And then we stay self-contained. And then we don't broach it. And other people may be going through the same thing, our neighbors, relatives. And then we suffer alone. And it's really, really agonizing.
I'm glad you mentioned suffering alone because, as loved ones, is there anything that we could do? Are there words that we could say if we see a loved one who's recently lost their job going through a space where their mental health is declining? What are the words that we could use?
First, let's start with what not to say. I would stay away from easy, false reassurances because it makes the person feel worse. Because then when you say it's going to be okay, and if it's not, or the person fears that it's not, the reassurance doesn't land because we think there's something even more abominable about us because we don't feel better, but yet our wife, our husband, our aunt, our mother said that it's going to be okay. So the first thing is try to do what's really hard, no false reassurances. Just start with listening and empathizing with the feeling. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm so sorry you've been a loyal worker and they're letting you go. I'm so sorry they gave you such short notice and convey that I'm in here with you and I have your back.
Now, as we're thinking about, again, family and friends, are there warning signs? Are there things that we can look out for as we see our partners, our cousins, our siblings going through this? Are there things that we should be able to notice?
Yes, if your partner lets you know that they've been sleepless, if they begin to isolate more, if they stop doing activities that formerly gave them joy, walking, going to the gym, walking the dog, etc. Um, if you notice that they're talking in language that sounds very permanent, this is the way things are, and they have a grimness about them. This is, you don't understand, this is just the way things are. Things are never going to change. Don't jump in and say, well, there may be another administration, there's an election, things may change. Stay away from that and just stay with, you look like you're under a lot of duress. Is there anything I can do? I'm in here with you.
Wonderful. To that point, to those, tips that you have, is there a place that we could go as family members, as supporters, as people who want to assist? Is there a website where we can learn more?
I don't know specifically if if there's a dear friend, if there's an older relative that you trust, if you know someone's changed a lot and you can ask them about their therapist. That's where I would go first. You want to, I think, avoid just, I mean, hotlines, are better than nothing, but you want to try to get a personal connection at best, someone that knows someone. Or you could ask your doc, if you love your internist and have been through a lot and trust them, you could ask her or him, do you have someone that you trust that is reliable and stable and insightful and wise that my husband or wife can go to?
Dr. Blumen, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all this information. It was good to meet you.
It was very good to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you all for tuning in to this segment of Focus Atlanta. Please stay tuned for more.